The clip you just watched is from a concert by The Who back in 2006. And if you want to know why we started the class with a clip from The Who, well, I mean, that should be obvious. It's The Who. This is Pete Townsend. He is, without a doubt, the greatest songwriter in rock history. And you should remember that in case there is a quiz question about The Who or asking you to ascertain who's the greatest rock songwriter, but probably won't be on the quiz. But as it is, if it is, you should be sure to note that it was Pete. And I don't start this the class with this clip because I happen to be in the clip. In fact, if you look here, you can see my arm where the arrow is pointing. Yeah, I was there along with my oldest son. Great concert. We start with this clip because The Who are talking about, the secret. This is a person who's trying to go out and find knowledge, going out to discover things. And he goes to all different types of places, including the Beatles, Timothy Leary. And ideally in college, that's what you're doing, is you're seeking knowledge. And part of the goal of this course is to help you learn knowledge, but also helping you to learn how to ascertain what's good or bad knowledge and to think about theory. Because at its foundation, knowledge is about theory. It's about understanding why we do things or why things happen, or being able to explain what's going on or not going on. So that's why we started with this clip. Who am I? Well, I'm the instructor for this course. If you've watched the opening clip on Carmen, you've already been introduced to me, but my name again is David E. Wilson. That's pronounced E. Wilson. Many students prefer to call me Dr. Dre because my initials are DRE, Dave Ross E. Wilson. And I'm perfectly fine with that. I love Dr. Dre, and I really resonate to that nickname. I did my graduate work in Indiana University. I got a PhD in psychology, and I have a PhD in communication. That works well with this course because many of the theories we'll be talking about take a psychological orientation to the study of communication, but not all of them. Other things you should probably know about me that will help you with the clips. I'm from Minnesota. Most of the clips are already recorded, and I don't think I talk about Minnesota too much. What I've been told I talk about a fair amount in the clips is soccer. I am a huge soccer fan. My oldest son plays soccer. Here's some pictures of him playing soccer. He plays in college now for Rhodes. He's been the captain last year, and he'll be the captain again this year. This is a picture of him right after he scored his first goal in college, which happened also to be a winning goal. He's an attacking midfielder if you're into soccer. My younger son is a huge fan of the Crew. We go to a fair number of national games. There was a picture on the website of him and I at the Mexico qualifying match that was held here about a year ago. So I will talk about the Crew. And if you don't know who the Crew are, they're a professional team, a Major League Soccer team that's here in Columbus, and we have season tickets, so we go a lot. The textbook for this class isn't a normal textbook. Here it is. You can see it nice here. This is a customized book. The book, Griffin, has a number of chapters that we don't use. So, for example, we don't study in this class the rhetorical approaches to communication because that's just not something that's found very much here at The Ohio State University. So, because there were a lot of chapters, I had a custom version of the book, so there's not as many chapters in here as would normally be the case. The textbook, the creators of the textbook, McGraw-Hill, said that the book should cost about $85. The bookstore is charging about $100. I'm a little upset about that. You can also get this book as an ebook, and as an ebook, I believe it's under $70. I'm not certain, but that might be a viable option as well as a way to get the book. The advantage of customized books is they are much cheaper. The disadvantage is it's unlikely you'll be able to sell it back, but you will save money in the long run because what they give you back for this book is usually about $10, and the customized book costs at least $25 or less. It should be costing significantly less than that from what the book cost to buy the new book. In the book, the problem with the customized book is you have right inside, you'll have this as a table of contents. And that's the table of contents for how it's set up with us. So the chapter numbers there that go up through 29 are the chapters that we'll be reading. There's also a table of contents for the most recent edition of the book. In just a second, let me go to that. And that looks something like this. It's inside the book a little more. Ignore that. This is the most recent edition of the book. You can see what chapters you didn't get, but otherwise you can pretty much ignore this part of it. In the syllabus, we've also put the first page for each chapter as they're found in here. And the page numbers that you want to pay attention to, again, we get 2 page numbers, but pay attention to the page number way out in the corner. That's the page that corresponds to the syllabus. So, fun book. It says, you know, Ohio State University, pretty cool. It says your class on it, how many, I can never get used to this camera. How many of your classes have that? So, way cool. This video is part of the Scavenger Hunt for the course. Here is the page from Carmen that you should have started at. On this page, you can see, first of all, another nice picture of me. You should watch that. I'd give a slight overview to the course, talk about things, and you can find things in that video to hate about me. So that's always good. You're going to find the news section, which is going to be on the left side of Carmen if you've never used Carmen before. That's going to have the hints for the Scavenger Hunt. During the Scavenger Hunt, you're going to learn about the course. You're going to have to read the syllabus. You're going to have to take a quiz about the syllabus. The quiz is 5 questions long. There's actually about 20 questions that it's randomly being drawn from. You have to get it perfect on the quiz, 5 for 5, before it allows you to go to the next step of the Scavenger Hunt. The next step of the Scavenger Hunt will be Carmen Connect. We have office hours online, and that will be done through Carmen Connect, so you need to know how to do that. After Carmen Connect, you'll go to the wiki. That's going to be a big part of this course. You're going to be doing entries into a wiki, and that will be part of the graded assignments. After the wiki, you'll go to what's called CREP, which is our subject pool. Even though this is an online course, you'll have to be involved with research. This is the research pool, subject pool for our department. And you'll learn about doing research by being involved with research. Most of the students have to do half of the research credits will be in the lab. That's not the case for the online course. For the online course, you can do all 5 credits online, web-based research. You have to do approximately 5 hours of research across the 15 weeks of the semester. You want to go to the CREP book and read about it, and there'll be information there about it. And then the final thing, I believe, is the discussion board. And you'll be required to post a number of times on the discussion board. Each week we will post multiple things for you to respond to. You don't have to respond each week. You do need to do a certain number of those in the first half of the course. The same way you do have to do half of your CREP credits in the first half of the course. Anyway, the first week of the class is doing the Scavenger Hunt. You need to pay really close attention to this because this is where you're going to learn how to do the course. You also have to be responsible for reading the syllabus online. Make sure that you understand everything with the syllabus. Make sure you understand everything with CREP. Make sure you understand how to use the wiki and so forth. But when you're doing this, when you're going through the Scavenger Hunt, some of the clues are going to point you to the news on Carmen. And that will be for this class. So you'll want to go to the 1100 online page, and below my wonderful video, you'll have the news items. If you're someplace else in there, say you've gone to the content, and you'll see there's the nice little pull-down menus in the top. You click on and you go to content. That's where you'll find the syllabus. If you're in the content and you want to get back to this page, you just go up there and you click on the part that says Communication 1100 Online, and that takes you back to this page, and you'll get back to the news items. That should all work great. This is the first time I've done the online course. I teach this course in a face-to-face format with some frequency here at OSU. While I believe all of you should be able to get A's, and I say this with every class, and I believe that with all of my heart, I also know that you have a lot of different obligations in your life, and that's going to influence how you do in this class. And those are your choices. You are going to have to keep up with things to get a good grade in this class. But anyway, here is a recent news report on grading in universities that gives you a state of the art on that right now. So let's watch this real quick.
I'm Michael Coe, filling in for Clifford Baines, who is fighting his nemesis atop of an abandoned clock tower. A new study by the Department of Education finds that students who think school is a boring waste of time score significantly lower on their standardized tests than their peers. Are these exams biased against students who don't give a shit?
Absolutely. These kids are placed at an unfair disadvantage. You know, students who don't care enough to read through to the end of a word problem have an 89% lower chance of answering it correctly. I mean, there's something wrong with that question.
Yep, you're right. And the studies also show that students who randomly fill in answer bubbles to make a UFC logo on their answer sheet score consistently worse than their peers.
How are the kids who don't care going to get ahead?
That's right.
Thank you.
The deck is stacked against the child whose pencil breaks, and then he doesn't feel like getting up to go sharpen it, and so he just chews his fingernails for the rest of the
We
test.
need to test these kids on what they know, not what we want them to know.
But clearly this isn't just about the test, it's about the system as a whole. Should schools be doing more to reach out to students that don't care about school?
Absolutely. There are no role models for these students in their textbooks.
None.
They just read about motivated people like George Washington and Frederick Douglass.
What about all the historical figures who didn't give a fuck about anything?
Yes, that's exactly right.
You never hear about them. Calvin Coolidge's brother Thomas, he hung around the White House for years before he finally died of alcohol poisoning.
Well, I mean, look, there's a larger issue at play here, which is that there is a big social stigma in this country against lazy, self-centered assholes.
Yes.
And, you know, these kids are suffering because of it.
The purpose of school is to prepare our kids for the real world, and in the real world, people don't give a shit.
People don't give a shit.
Companies have started professional programs specifically for students who don't care. Of course, we know Kinko's has been doing this for years. They hire thousands of
I
students.
think it's so great that they're reaching out to these kids. I mean, I didn't care about anything when I was in school.
Really?
No way.
You know, fortunately, I was very blessed to have a teacher that reached out to me and taught me the importance of pretending to give a shit about things.
pretending's key.
Without him, I certainly would never be the successful pundit that I am today.
Now, critics say the environment standardized tests are administered in... Who threw that? Nancy, who threw that?
I ain't snitching.
I hope that news clip wasn't too offensive. I've always enjoyed that from the youngin. But the point is, when I teach this course in the face-to-face format, 20% or more of the students get D's or F's. But also a high percentage of students get A's and B's. So it's not an impossible course. I do believe all of you can get A's. I don't think it's very difficult. I'll be curious to see how it works online because there isn't the test. We're going to have quizzes, but much of what you do online is going to be your own writing on discussion boards in the wiki. But again, you need to keep on top of those things. Each week on Monday, I will send you out an email talking about what's going to happen that week. Likewise, the lectures for that week will come online on Monday. I believe it's Monday morning, maybe Sunday night for that week. And so you should watch those lectures and pay attention to what's going on. Look at the discussion boards to see what questions we're asking and things like that. So we're going to do what we can to help you by sending these emails, by having the online office hours and so forth. But a lot of this course is dependent upon you, upon you being disciplined and making sure you get these things done. I have some rules I want to talk about with the course. First of all, I have a general policy that after a grade is given to you, you have to wait 24 hours before you complain about the grade, before you challenge the grade. Once I've instituted this rule, the number of grade challenges has decreased dramatically, which is why I like the rule. Because I find that for many students, the same thing happens with a grade that happened when I was a student. You know, I turn in a paper, I think it's a great paper, I'm expecting no worse than an A-. I get it back, it's a C+, I'm pissed off and angry. And if I were to talk with the professor at that point, I would start yelling. Go home, I read the paper, I think about it, and I say, oh, I see where I screwed up. I didn't understand the assignment. I spelled China wrong. I don't know how I could do that, but anyway, that's what I did, whatever. And I see how I got that grade. And so that's why I have this policy. Grade challenges should be made in writing. I'm the Director of Undergraduate Studies here for the School of Communication at OSU. And I find that students are much more successful in making grade challenges when everything is in writing. So you should write something. You should insist that the professor respond to you in writing so that we have a paper trail that we can look at in making these challenges. You're going to be posting a lot on a wiki. You're going to be posting a lot on discussion boards, both as assignments, as questions, and so forth. I have a very strong commitment to civil discourse, and that is a requirement in this course. You will be civil in your discourse, and we will be respectful to one another. I have spent a lifetime fighting for human rights, whether it involves issues of racism, sexism, homophobia, what have you. I have been threatened with being fired because of my positions on homophobia, for example, where I protested homophobic practices at universities. I've been threatened by groups that are outside of the law because of my actions combating racism. I take these issues very, very seriously. There will not be sexism. There will not be racism. There will not be homophobic statements online. If you find something like that you're offensive and it says this online, you should read the policies about posts. You should let Courtney or I know. Courtney is the TA for the class. And we'll make a determination whether the post is removed or not. Likewise, if a graded post is racist, is sexist, demeans the discourse that should be going on in this class, you will be penalized for that. I have no tolerance for that. The final thing I should warn you is that I like to have fun with my classes, and so I will do some things that may seem a little goofy. I mean, the clip from The Onion is probably one of those. I will use a lot of clips from movies. Some of them may be movies you've never heard of, some of them may be movies you've watched and are very familiar with, such as, Remember the Titans. Almost everyone's seen that. And it may say things about Ohio State that are not true. I've gotten in trouble for the past for talking about product placements in the classroom. If I do that again, you should know that they're not really product placements in the classroom at Ohio State. So I may say things to goof off and to have fun that are not 100% true about this course or about Ohio State. So if I would say things like, we're trying to sell this course, so I have to do things to promote other universities, you can say he's goofing off here. If I were to do something saying, vitamin water is wonderful for you and helps you think better, you should drink vitamin water because I can feel my neurons firing faster when I drink vitamin water, you should know I'm goofing off, that that's not a real product placement. Vitamin water is not paying me to do this. As much as I would like to be a sponsor for vitamin water, I'm not. So that said, I think that's everything I wanted to say in this clip. I hope you have a good day. Make sure you go through the entire Scavenger Hunt next couple of days. Read through everything carefully. Then I hope you enjoy the course. And be sure to communicate through discussion boards. There's always a discussion board up there for you to ask questions. And I'll answer them, Courtney will answer them, other students may answer them, and they may answer them better than I do, who knows, as well as the online office hours. The next step of the Scavenger Hunt, after you watch this video, is to look at the syllabus. So you should go to the content page, download the PDF of the syllabus, and read it through thoroughly. Once you've read through the syllabus and you're comfortable that you understand it, you'll take a quiz on the syllabus. You will be required to get 5 out of 5 correct on the syllabus before you can move to the next step of the Scavenger Hunt. So if you get 3 out of 5 the first time, go back, reread the syllabus, take it again. You're going to get different questions. There may be some overlap in the questions, but you're definitely going to get new questions, and keep going until you get 5 out of 5. We do that because it is critically important you understand the syllabus before you move on in the Scavenger Hunt. And enjoy that vitamin water.